What is up, guys? How y'all doing today? Welcome back to the channel for another episode of Retro Reviews. So, welcome to our season summary pregame show for the New England Patriots. I took them through a season on a challenge, right? So, yeah, this is my last challenge for a while on the NES because I do want to get back in the Super Nintendo room and do a full season on Tecmo Super Bowl on that one. Atlanta Falcons, that's what we're going to be doing next after this series, right? But yeah, we took the Patriots through a season on a challenge. As you can see, Josh, hey, we didn't go 14-2 again, man. So hey, that's 2 seasons now back to back. We did it. Didn't go 14-2. Actually, so as you can see there, we went 11-5 on the season. We could have won a couple more games. We did lose a couple close ones. Even the last game of the season, we lost by just 3 points. You know, we was down by 10, but just fell apart for us. But yeah, anyways, we took him through a season on a challenge here. What was the challenge? Well, we went with Steve Grogan at quarterback. We basically took out. Like we did with the Browns, we took out the wide receivers and the tight end. So McMurdy, Martin, and Severs was our starters. We still kept the running backs in there because they're not great as it is, and I stuck with Steve Grogan at quarterback because honestly, when I take the Patriots through, I prefer Mark Wilson because he's rated better and he plays better. So. But yeah, for the challenge, I stuck with old Grogan, right? But before we get into our stats and how we did and everything, we do have a final game left to be played out. So we'll get to see the division standings, who's going to playoffs together here. Jets, Dolphins, and the Dolphins take care of business, 24-17. Whoa, the Indianapolis Colts made it in the playoffs. Unbelievable. Bengals, Oilers. Just the Raiders. We're going to take a look at this. Packers again in the Central. Whoa, the Falcons in the playoffs. Squeaked in. Let's take a look at those division standings again. Let's go to our division here. So as you can see, we won the division at 11-5. Miami finished 10-6, just one game back from us. But the Indianapolis Colts went 9-7 on the season and got in the playoffs. Sometimes I think if you maybe control, like a crappy team, it kind of like triggers other crappy teams. It almost inspires them or something, right? Wow. Rarely see that. Rarely see the Colts in the playoffs unless you do it yourself. Buffalo, because of a tie, was below the Colts there. So if it wasn't for that tie, I think the Bills would have been in the playoffs. Well, yeah, because the Bills are better on the points. Colts actually gave up more points than they scored, Bills scored more than they gave up, but because of the tie instead of because if they would have won, they would have been not the same record, but because of points, Bills would have been in. But whoever that tie was the tiebreaker. All right. Wow. Okay. Well, let's check out this. Bengals won the division here, 11-5. Oilers in 10-6, and just the Raiders from the West, 10-6. Still can't get over the Colts getting in. Wait, and the Colts are 9-7. Okay, Steelers went just 8-8. Seahawks were 9-7, but oh wow, because of points, right? Seahawks gave up 405. Wow, Seahawks they gave up more than 100 points and they scored 405 to 301. So once again because of points, right? Seahawks were worse on the points than the Colts. That's why the Colts made it. How about that? Giants, Redskins, Eagles. Eagles squeaked it at 8-8. Packers won division 11-5. Wow. Lions and Vikings 8-8, but didn't make it. But the Falcons did make it at 8-8. So once again, because of points, right? How about that? That's different. So the Falcons are in, and the Colts. So those are two teams that we don't normally see in postseason action here. Okay, so let's just take a look at the bracket. Yeah, Colts will be taking on the Raiders, so whoever wins out of that game will be our opponent. Most likely, we're just gonna go ahead and start. I told the coaches, go ahead and start pulling Raiders film. We're expecting to play them. All right, let's go back to our homepage and look and see how everybody did here. Starting with the quarterback, Steve Grogan. This might be one of my worst numbers wise for a quarterback, right? Maybe maybe even worse than Jeff Hostetler, because I know I had this kind of mediocre numbers with Hostetler when I took them through the season with the Giants, but old Grogan here, 54% completed for 2,768 yards, only 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions for the season, right? Only 14 touchdowns? That's less than a touchdown a game. 11 scrambles for 74 yards and a rushing touchdown. But he did get hurt and he missed part of one game. So Mark Wilson did come in and he went 6 for 10 for 148 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Helped us win the game. Helped us win that game. He came in there. But yeah, Steve Grogan. I mean, he's probably the worst rated quarterback on the game, but it's like, yeah, it's almost like he can't throw deep. I mean, he can throw it deep, but he can't throw it accurate deep, So it's like I had so many guys that it's like they were deep. It was deep routes, but he overthrew them. It's like by 10 to 15, 20 yards. It's like, yay, like a rainbow. So because of the receivers, right, being slower, they'd get tackled at the 10 or the 5, and then we'd run it in for the touchdown. So that's part of the reason he only had only 14 touchdown passes. That might be my lowest for touchdown passes in a season with a quarterback, full season, right? But hey, what are you gonna do, right? All right, let's go to our running backs here. Marvin Allen. It was running back by committee here. 34 runs, 168 yards, just 1 touchdown. 6 catches for 99 yards. Some special teams action there. John Stevens, 71 runs, 384 yards. 18 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, see right there, 18 touchdowns for him on the ground. 19 catches, 322 yards, and a receiving touchdown. John Stevens doing pretty good for us. George Adams, not too much. Just 4 runs, 19 yards, and 1 catch for 12 yards. But he did get a lot of special teams play there. Mosey Chatapoo. Byham's our best running back. 74 runs, 446 yards, 6-yard average, 11 rushing touchdowns, 3 catches for 78 yards. Some special teams action there too. Irving Fire did not play, well, except for 2 punt returns for 11 yards. Forgot to take him out. Or while he came back basically from injury. That's what it was. Hartley Dykes, I had no choice. One of my receivers got hurt, so I had to put a guy in there. He had 3 catches for 37 yards, right? So, not too much. All right, here's our receivers, starting receivers. Greg McMurdy, 23 catches, 602 yards, and just 1 touchdown. 1 receiving touchdown for my number 1 starting receiver, right? That's pretty shabby. But if you consider consider the quarterback, right, that kind of explains it. Sammy Martin now a little bit better there. 20 catches, 737 yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. So 20. So Greg McMurray had 3 more catches, but Martin had more yards and more touchdowns. Here was Marv Cook did not play. Here was our best receiver, our backup tight end Eric Severs. Actually, 1,000-yard season there. 45 catches, 1,029 yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. So Eric Severs was Grogan's security blanket. Our kicker Jason Strofsky, hit all 46 extra points and 16 out of 18 on field goals. Yeah, that shows you right there. 46 extra points. Usually it seems like my kickers are in the 60s, like 50, like 60s, like 65s extra points. So that shows you right there. Our offense was sputtering at times. Well, yeah, only 94 points. Usually my kickers are well over 100 points for the season. Our punter Brian Hansen had 6 punts, 341 yards, 56.8 yard average. All right, let's go to the defense here. Garen Ferris, 3 sacks. Tim Goode, 4 sacks. Ray Agnew, 6 sacks. Andre Tippett, 6 sacks. Ed Reynolds had 2 sacks. Richard Harvey, 3 sacks. Chris Singleton, just 1 sack. In the backfield here, Maurice Hurst had nothing. Ronnie Lepet had 2 interceptions and a sack. Probably the best defensive player, best on the team. Fred Marion had 3 interceptions, 22 yards return. And Rod McSwain had 2 interceptions. That's it. I'm going to say decent sack numbers on the front 7, 3, 4, 6, 2. Everybody on front 7 had a sack, at least 1. I'm going to say the front 7 did pretty decent on sack numbers. Defensive backfield, not so much. So there's our stats for everybody for the season. Let's go to league leaders. How did Grogan rank among the quarterbacks here? This is my first time checking. Oh, there he is, number 18. 107.6 rating. I bet, let's go to touchdown passes. Was he the worst? Well, he was tied with Jeff George. Steve Grogan and Jeff George were tied for last for touchdown passes. They both have 14. How about completion percentage? Grogan's 18 again. Yep, pretty far down there for playing. Receivers, yeah, right. You ain't gonna be up there. maybe on that one. Hey, all right, Sammy Martin, yards per catch, 36.8. That's one category I can usually lead on rushing or on receiving is the yards per catch average. Rushing, not going to be up there. Just curious to see who they're. Thurman Thomas for the Bills, Anderson, Meggett, Barry, Butts, Bo. That's kind of an off season for Bo, even though it's over 1,000 yards, but still, that's still an off season for him. Punting, yeah, we still had the best punter in the league. How about sacks? Taylor with the Giants, 26. Kofor with the Lions, 25. Francis with the Bengals, 20. Or Smith with the Bills at 16. Green with the Rams at 15. All right. Kickoff returns. Garrett Bello and Winder. Beggett. Yeah, we're not probably not going to be on there. There we go. Adams is 23rd. Punt returns. Nope. Nope. Interception. There's old Waymer. He's usually there. Newsom of the Rams. Mayhew. Ross of the Chiefs. Johnson. There's your Richard Johnson, Ray, if you're watching. Of the Oilers. And Holmes of Green Bay. I never can get Holmes to do good for me like that. And the scoring. Andre Rison of the Falcons. Well, that explains their success this season, right? A big part of it. Andre Rison, leading scorer. I don't see that too often. And Rozier, number 3. So there you go. Hey, John Stevens here, number 4, 19 touchdowns. At least we had a guy there. Barry Sanders and Neil Anderson. There's the league leaders. How about our team rankings? Offense. There we are, number 22. Total offense. Number 13 passing. And number 23 rushing offense. How about the defense? Hey, number 1 defense in the league, Patriots. Number 3 against the pass. Number 1 against the rush. Hey, that's usually, I guess that's a switch for me. Usually I'm better against the rush than I am Yeah, usually rushing I'm lower and passing I'm higher. So for the Patriots, taking the Patriots to, that was reversed. Okay, that's nice. All right, so we already looked at the division standings now. So now it's time to simulate the wild card games to see who's moving on to the division round and see who our opponent is going to be tonight. Let's get it rolling here. Dolphins Oilers, ooh, wild card game. And the Dolphins. Man, Dolphins are good in the playoffs here, usually. Even though the Oilers, on paper, are a better team, but they don't play on paper, right? So Dolphins moving on to face the Bengals in the divisional round. Brian Mitchell returned for the Redskins, taking on the Falcons in the wild card. Whoa, the Falcons pull a huge upset. 35-10. Wow, didn't expect that. Falcons just barely got in at 8-8, but again, that don't matter, man. Once you're in the tournament, hey, everything's even kill, right? It's like wow, that just looks odd, don't it? I was expecting Redskins all day, but the Falcons are moving on to take on the Giants, so good luck with that. But hey, at least they got a win in the playoffs, something different. All right, Colts Raiders. This is the game we're interested in. Who would have thought? Colts. Marcus Allen injured. But the Raiders still whip the Colts. Yeah, Jack Trudeau took over for Jeff George during the season. That was part of the reason for the Colts' success. But their Cinderella season came to an abrupt halt there with a 31-7 loss to the Raiders, which kind of figured that, right? Kind of figured that. I was gonna say, come on, hey, no, it's possible. Anything's possible in this game, but most likely it was going to be the Raiders. So I told the guys that go ahead and start pulling the Raiders film, you know. So that is going to be our opponent tonight. Patriots taking on the Raiders, right? We got one more game here. Packers, Eagles. And the Eagles, 35-21 over the Pack. So the Eagles are moving on to take on the Niners in the divisional round. There you go, guys. Well, that concludes our season summary pregame show, so we hope to see you tonight when we take on the Los Angeles Raiders. At least it is at home, so at least hopefully maybe that'll help us out a little bit. But going up against them with this squad, I don't know. We're going to give it our darndest, right? So anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tonight. So until I see you then, have a good one, okay? I'll see you when I see you. But if this is your first time to the channel, tap subscribe, then the bell ding ding, so you're notified when I upload new videos. So until next time, guys, stay frosty, keep it retro, and come Lord Jesus.
We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
And liftoff. We have liftoff. Challenger has cleared the tower.